I like to start this video by saying, US Airways, if you've ever seen the video called, what is it, Harlem Nights, Della Reese did the best. She said, kiss my entire ass. So, let me tell you about my trip to DC to visit with my best friends for Memorial Day weekend. First, I've never flown with US Airways. I normally fly with American, but hey, they had the cheaper ticket this time, so I decided to go with them. So I bought my ticket on Priceline.com. My initial ticket was like, how much was my ticket? It was like one something. Well, because the additional was $28, so it had to be like $172 to fly from South Carolina, Fort Mill, South Carolina, to Charlotte, not Charlotte, but to Baltimore, Maryland. So I bought my ticket online. The ticket was $172. I bought the ticket. Once I actually purchased the ticket and confirmed it, I realized, like, oh shoot, I'm leaving on Monday, but I'm leaving like at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, well, we're probably going to be partying on Sunday, so I need to get that changed. So I immediately called and I talked to the representative. She spoke with me and said that she was able to change my ticket, being that it was within the 24-hour period. And she told me what flight did I want. I told her I wanted to leave at like 8 o'clock at night. She said it'd be a $28 difference. So I gave her my debit card number, and she, I guess, did whatever she did, and I received a new email letting me know that I would beleaving Monday evening the 28th at 8:05 p.m. So I thought everything was cool, everything was fine. So I'm supposed to be leaving on the 25th. So the day comes, I go to work, I get off, I get to the airport. I got to the airport pretty early because I had my coworker dropping me off. So I got there like right when we got off work. So I got there around like 3 or 4. So my flight wasn't scheduled to leave until like at 8:05, and I was supposed to get there at like 9:30. So I'm sitting in the airport, kind of restless. It's getting around the time. It's about 7:30, and my flight leaves at 8:05. So I'm like, okay, we're about to start boarding. So myself and a couple of other people that are on the flight like get next to the line because we're ready to board. Instead of hearing the lady over at the desk say, well, you know what, it's time to board, flight whatever to Baltimore, Maryland, she says, well, I'm sorry, this flight is being canceled at this time. And then on the board behind her pops up Dublin, Ireland, and she says, well, this flight is going to Dublin, Ireland because their flight had some maintenance issues, so we're going to use this plane, and your plane is not going to be leaving until an hour and 30 minutes. So me, like, at that point, I'm upset. I'm like, you guys can't, like, I understand that I live here and I'm here, but what if I didn't leave here? What if I was connecting? What if, like, I'm connecting with friends and it's imperative that we make the same flight together to be with each other? So I'm like, I walked up to it, I'm like, okay, well, what are we supposed to do? Because I'm supposed to be meeting my best friends in Baltimore, Maryland, and I have to be there at a certain time, because I actually did, because we were all meeting there to actually go to DC Pride. So she tells me, well, there's nothing that you can do, and you can just have a seat. And I told her, I'm sorry, what do you mean there's nothing you can do? You tell me 30 minutes before my flight is supposed to leave that they're canceling the flight. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I have to meet my best friends. What are you talking about? And then I asked one of the ladies, I said, so you mean to tell me if you were in my same situation, if somebody told you to sit down and wait, you would do it? And her smart ass go talk about something. Yes, I would do it because there's nothing I can do about it. I said, well, of course you would say that because you actually work for the airlines. So I told them, I said, well, that wasn't acceptable. So what is it that you guys can do? So they told me to go, I'm sorry, you guys. Over the weekend, you see that right there? Right there. I have a pimple. I don't know what the hell that is, and it's too small for me to pop it, but that shit hurts like a mother. I'm gonna pop it probably tonight in the shower. But anyway, that's why I have this hat on. So anyway, I tell them that's unacceptable. So what else are they able to do? And they told me to go to the United Airlines service counter, and that they would be able to assist me with anything. Oh, that feels so much better. They'd be able to assist me with any issues that I was having. So I go to the service counter, and I get there, and I'm explaining myself to the lady, and another lady looks over at her screen, and, oh, there's nothing we can do about that. There's nothing we can do. I said, okay, well, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to her. So can you let her do what she was going to do? Because she's typing, trying to find everything, and you're like, no. Can you see what can you let her do what she has to do? So automatically, when you say something back to them, I wasn't rude, I wasn't nasty, but she gets an attitude with me. So I'm like, you know what, whatever. I'm not talking to you. Don't say nothing else to me. A guy sitting next to me is like, it's not that serious. I'm like, yes, it is that serious. Like, I'm ready to go. I'm supposed to be gone. Like, you don't do this. You have to let people. Oh, is it still going? Hopefully it is. Is it still going? Oh, sorry guys, my computer locked, so I had to unlock it. But anyway, So I'm talking to the lady, and she's like, "Well, there's a 7:59 one, and mind you, at this time it's like 7:46, but you can't make that." And I'm like, "Why can't I make it?" Like, she's like, "Well, they close out the gates at the tickets at a certain time," and I'm like, "I understand that, but I've literally been in the airport and seen people." Like just coming through the ticketing gate, running down to the plane, and we're on the plane about to take off, and you guys hold the plane for them. So you mean to tell me you can't hold a plane? I'm already here. It just as fast as you can get the tickets, as fast as I'm there. And she know there's nothing they can do. I said, well, you know what? That's not acceptable. Is there a supervisor that I can speak to? So some lady comes over here, and I guess one of the other girls like dishes her the tea before she gets out there. So she walks over to the other girl already with a stank attitude, and I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, please don't let this lady give me an attitude. So anyway. So I'm talking to her, and she's like, well, I started telling her the story, and she's like, well, I'm talking to her. I said, well, yeah, I didn't explain the entire thing to her, so she really doesn't know what's going on. So I was trying to explain the story to you. Well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? I said, well, we're trying to see if we can get to another flight. She's telling me there's a 7:59 flight. I'm willing to take that flight. Can I get on that flight? Well, no, you can't do this, and no, you can't do that. I'm like, well, first of all, I don't know where your attitude is coming from, but I'm just frustrated. Like, I'm not going off on you. I should be, because I'm the one frustrated. You're at work. So she tells me, well, let's see how you're you know what? Since you want to have an attitude, we're going to do everything by the book. We're going to do it by the book. I said, and that's not a problem. I want you to do. I'm not asking you to cut no corners, but we're going to do it by the book. Okay, not a problem. So she looked on there. She's like, oh, well, for you to change your ticket, it's going to be $150. I said, and that's not a problem. As long as I can get on the flight when I was supposed to, that's not a problem. Here goes my debit card. Let's go. Then she looks in there, but there's not one available. The only one that they have available is the one that you're leaving on 9:30. So I'm supposed to be actually arriving there at 9:30. But now I'm not. So an hour and a half later. So they couldn't do anything. So that was me leaving. So I thought that was it. That was the only thing that was going to happen. So Monday comes. Rashad and I are driving to the airport. I get to the airport with about, I want to say an hour, no less than 45 minutes. So I go check in on the kiosk. I put in my key and my name, and it doesn't come up. So me, I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe, they have a certain time frame where you can check into the kiosk. Maybe that's cut off. So let me go to this man that's right here staring me in my face, seeing me not being able to key in and not saying nothing to me. So I walked over to him. I'm like, hello, sir. Like, the kiosk won't allow me to, check myself in. Can you assist me? He's like, okay. So he looks in there, and he's like, well, do you have the second on your last name? I said, yes, I do. So he looked in there. He's like, oh, well, I see your name, but I don't see a ticket. And I said, no, he said, I see your name, but I don't see a seat. And I said, what do you mean? So I immediately picked up my phone and started going through my emails to get the email of when the lady sent me, confirming my ticket for a later time. So he tells me that he can't do anything. So he hands me up to another lady who gets on the phone and starts talking to people. And then she tells me that when I actually confirmed my ticket, the lady was trying to force through a seat on a plane that was already full. So I wasn't able to get on that flight, and it rejected it back. So I'm like, okay, well, when was I going to receive any type of information, any notification? I said, you guys have been sending me notifications of crap all weekend for flight times, but you guys haven't once said that my flight is canceled. So she looks in there, and I was like, I have to be to work in the morning. Like, I cannot miss work in the morning. I have to be there. And she's like, well, there's nothing we can do until the morning. And I'm just like, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. I'm like, okay, well, it's you all's error. It's not my error. It's nothing that I've done, and there's nothing you can do to help me. Well, I've checked here and I've checked DC, and there are no flights that are leaving out. This is the last flight. I'm like, you're kidding me. But and then she gets me a flight for the next morning, and she puts me in first class, and I'm sitting here like, okay, but I need to be at work. Like, thank you for doing that, but I need to be at work. I need to be back. That's why I got this flight, so that I can be back to work in the morning. So she tells me, well, we used to have a partnership with AirTran. We don't have it anymore, but you can go over there and see if they'd be able to assist you if you tell them what happened. So I walk all the way to AirTran, tell the guy my story, and by this time, I'm so overwhelmed. Like, I'm not a crier. Like, I have to really be emotional for me to cry, but I was so upset with this airline. I was so pissed off at this airline, and when, like, the customer service and the shit they had to do, that I started bawling. I was so upset. And I'm like, dude, like, I have to be back to work in the morning. This is what happened. This is the situation. He told me I had to pay $95 for another flight. So I ended up coming out of pocket $95. So not only was I delayed in my first flight, I didn't have a second flight because I had to pay for it from another flight. So I called their customer service, of course, and I'm telling them about the situation, and she tells me, well, I'm not, because I told her, I said, not only do I want the $95 that I had to pay for the AirTran flight, I want the money back for the flight that I was unable to take. And she told me, oh no, they won't do that. And I said, well, why not? Because had you guys have done what you guys said you have done, oh, stop locking. Sorry. I said if you guys would have done what you said you would have done, I wouldn't have to come out of pocket $95, and we wouldn't be having this situation. So as of right now, I'm waiting for them to decide if they're going to give me my money back, and I'm just like, I don't understand it. Like, I've never been so like for an airline before. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever been on US Airways and you guys have had some horrible service. Like, let me know. Am I the only one? Was I just bugging out? Was I just tripping? Was I just like, oh my God, like being hella dramatic? Just let me know. All right, thanks.